Okay. So, since we have a quorum, I'll call this meeting of the CVSD Board of School Directors for our business meeting on June 20th, 2017. I have one adjustment to the agenda where we are going to pull the minutes of the retreat out of the consent agenda and put them into action matters as 3.3. So we can amend those. Are there any other adjustments to the agenda? No, hearing none. We will move to 2.1 and the financial update. So, assuming is
The
update from Bob.
report is in the board packet.
Okay,
If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
okay.
Are there certain things that we can spend that grant on?
No, it's a nice enough grant that the money's in hand, and we don't have to, Elaine does not have to report back. And unlike the first grant, this one's wide open, so Elaine will work to fully spend the grant at the appropriate time.
Okay. All right, any other questions? No? So move to 2.2, the Finance, Budget, and Facilities Committee. So, I know you guys met the day, or the evening of our retreat. Any report out on that?
Pretty much just getting everybody caught up on the status of the construction projects and what the process is going to look like for requesting and approving bids.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? Hearing none, move on to 2.3, the transportation analysis. Did we all get the executive summary?
Yes.
We did? Okay. Any questions on the transportation analysis?
Was there like a competitive bidding process for this, or how did we come to this week?
I don't know.
The information on on comparative bids between insourcing and
Just
outsourcing.
like, how did we find the fellows the consultant for this report?
The consultant JKR Associates was chosen from one of 3 firms who submitted proposals to do the study.
Okay.
And the committee, whoever was on the committee at that point in time, decided they had the best focus on what needed to be done.
And that was covered with the transition, that was covered with our transition funds, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So basically what I took away from it was just that our drivers are cheaper than Betcha Transit drivers.
I wouldn't use the term drivers. Our system of providing transportation is more economical than that provided on contract with Betcha. It's a big portion of, well, there's other things in it besides the wages of the drivers or benefits. But
One thing that, I didn't think of this when I was reading the summary, but does their analysis include the purchase of extra buses to cover the Betcha inventory that we wouldn't have? Yeah.
I think they explicitly said it
It didn't?
no, it did not.
Okay.
No, it did not. The belief on the part of those who follow me, as well as me, is that the scale of CSSU's fleet is large enough that finding 6 additional buses, you as an organization likely won't have to purchase all 6 at once.
Okay.
You can just change the rate with which you both purchase vehicles and the rate with which you let them go to the graveyard in a manner that makes it far more comfortable to get that fleet size back to where it needs to be.
Okay. All
I
right.
remember a long time ago, the conversation about the employees that drive with our students. If we employ them, we have more impact over, not their behavior, but over what happens, rather than working with another company to, if there's anything that should happen, so.
Yeah, that was particularly apparent in the beginning years with Betcha. I will honestly tell you that under Monica's tenure, she and I helped clarify for Betcha what the expectations were, and the rule was that she at any time could remove a driver from the employee on location in Charlotte.
Yep.
Not necessarily have them removed from employment with Betcha or STA, but she could refuse to allow them to drive.
Yeah, that was.
If she had sufficient evidence in her mind, and that worked to her advantage in a couple of situations.
When is the current contract up with Betcha?
At the end of next year.
Like in June 30th, 18, is that what you mean? Okay. So what would be the next steps of this?
Well, I'd emphasize
analysis?
that the report is in here to not debate and discuss the recommendations made or decide on anything. It's just to provide you the basis for the analysis. I would expect that Jean and Elaine will be back to you sometime in the early fall with a recommendation on what you do with transportation, particularly the Charlotte piece of it, because the contract's up. And if you're going to put it out to bid, you want to do that in the October-November timeframe. So I think it'll be an early next year conversation.
If I remember correctly, every time we have put it out to bid, doesn't CSSU in the past, hadn't they bid on that contract?
One of the times we did provide a comparative cost.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a bid, but
But not every time.
no.
It would have been more complicated back then, when it was individual boards also, right? Because when you think about the way Bob is explaining how you could, instead of buying, let's say you needed 5 buses, instead of buying 5 buses all at once, which is what would have had to happen then, and it would have all been in Charlotte, you can maybe buy 2 buses and keep 3 buses that you might have sold at auction. And it's all in the family. It's a different way of
Different
looking
bid
at it.
parameters.
Yeah, exactly.
Colleen?
So if it's going to go out to bid October, November, it seems to me there needs to be some background work about what actually goes out to bid. So who would be doing that work? I mean, it
The
seems.
chief operations officer of the district.
Elaine and Jean will be working on that over the summer.
Need a pen, Gene?
It would probably go to a decision October to the board, I would think.
Right.
At the latest, which means it needs to be kind of packaged in September.
Earlier the better, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any further questions on the analysis? I do have one final report to the board, 2.3, where I would like to thank Bob for all of his many years of service to CSSU and his very short tenure for the CVSD in these past 6 months. It was
Felt like
nice.
10 years.
Yeah, that's right.
They were a critical 6 months.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Special assignment by Mr. Mason. Thanks so much for all your service. Really appreciate it. It was nice to meet people from all of your careers last night at your retirement party at UVM, and wish you the best of luck. And I hope you and your son enjoy your time together over the next many
Obviously, we
years.
will.
Which is a joke from last night, that some of you, if you weren't there. Yeah, we'll get, thank you. All right, so moving on to action matters. So I know who I want to appoint to this. Should I amend the action immediately to say I want to appoint this person, and then we can discuss it, and then if that doesn't work, we'll, because it seems like if I say we need to appoint one, how do you then include the person's name in the action?
I would probably diplomatically start with a
Anybody?
motion from the floor, and then have someone from the floor say, Dave, if you were on the floor, would you have anybody to recommend?
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily start with,
Okay.
this is who we're
Well,
naming.
okay, I just wanted to make sure we're going about this the right way, because I've tried to amend motions before, and I totally screw it up, so. So, can I get a motion to appoint a facilities committee rep to the Shelburne Community School Project?
Move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think
Do we-
you
do we-
squelched it. What
Do we
going?
have a nomination?
So, I would like to nominate Tim Williams to continue his work. He's a Shelburne board member. He's very connected to the project, has been working on it since its inception, and the project will essentially be done in August. So I thought it would be more efficient to have him continue for the next few months. He's willing to do it, rather than spin somebody else up like Russ on the project. So
Thank you.
I would recommend Tim. Any discussion having Tim doing that?
Great idea.
I advocate for Tim.
Okay.
Having worked with him on the Act 46 Study Committee, I know he'll pay good attention to it.
Yeah, yeah. Any other? Okay, all those in favor of Tim Williams as the facilities rep for Shelburne?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, could I get a motion to appoint a facilities committee rep for the Williston Central School project?
Move.
Second.
Can you get a recommendation?
I'd like to nominate Kevin Mara.
Kevin Morrow, okay. Any discussion?
Am I allowed to
Were there
explain
any
why?
other nominations?
Are there any other nominations? Any other Williston residents here?
Kevin, are
What,
you willing
really?
to accept?
Yeah.
To you.
Are you willing to accept? Was that
Yes,
right?
I'm
You
willing
are?
to
Okay. Okay. All right, all those in favor of Kevin as the Williston rep for the Williston project, say aye.
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 Okay, all those opposed? Okay, motion carries. So 3.2 is completed. 3.3, we'd like to pull the minutes out of the consent agenda for our retreat. And could I get a motion to amend those minutes to say that we voted to follow the VSBA?
Board voted its position on the statewide healthcare proposal was to support the VSBA's position.
Okay, so that's the motion on the floor. Can I get a second for that?
I'll second.
Any discussion? No? Okay, so all those in favor of amending the minutes to say that, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Okay, all right. All right. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the financing were in the consent. Are they in the consent agenda or no?
No, that's
Okay,
after.
that makes sense.
4.8.
It's all technically.
Oh, it
accepted,
is.
yeah.
No, I guess it is. Okay,
I just had a question.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody can answer it.
okay.
But there was a pledge in the bus financing that during this calendar year, the district wouldn't undertake any borrowing of any sort in an amount exceeding $5 million. Obviously, there's a TAN note for $9 million. Presumably, that should have been excluded, but if you just read it literally, it says any borrowing of any for,
I think Laura and I raised that same question, and they came back to us and said that they were okay with knowledge that you were going to borrow close to $9 million a little later. But let me, if you don't mind approving it, signing it, and let me make sure that that isn't true the case, yes, you know.
I think the original in the signatures folder that I got today does show the new amount.
Okay. Good catch. Signature folder. Eric, where was the note on
so
5
it was
million?
on the bus thing, it was the second page, number 2. Or, the signature page.
Let me see, well, number 2 on mine, the one you're going to sign, has no $5 million limit in it.
Okay, so they must have just amended that.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy.
Ah, that's
Between your memory and mine, we're...
that's a good find. That was a great, great find by both Sandy and Eric. Appreciate that. So could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I just clarify, so that on the signature page, the number 2 is, there's just no number 2 on that page? That whole sentence is deleted?
No, the item number 2 on my sheet of paper, on the bus note, says the Champlain Valley District will file when and as required with the Treasury Department or Internal Revenue Service information, blah, 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 blah.
So-
Is that item 3 on your page?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And then item, there's only, there's 4
So there are
on yours?
3 items?
Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 in mine.
Okay. Thank you.
So, seeing no further business on our agenda, I get a motion to adjourn.
Move.
All right, we're adjourned.
There are a lot of signatures here, and
Make sure you
most
visit.
of them need all of